The last full moon of our summer season is going to be on August the 19th in the sign of Aquarius, and it's going to be an interesting one. It has some good and some challenging energy to it. So it's bringing in a lot of different aspects, a lot of different things to look at in our lives because Mercury is retrograde at this time. And of course, we have so many other planetary involvements. It's definitely a time of completion. It is a time of manifestation. It is also a period of culmination. So this is when things, intentions that you set on the last new moon on August the 4th can now come to fruition, can now come to this manifestation point. It can come into realization. So this is looking at releasing what is no longer serving us and setting intentions and taking action toward our goals and our aspirations for this next lunar cycle as we wrap this lunar cycle up. Prepare yourself for significant personal growth as this Sturgeon moon is going to challenge you to expand on your aspirations. There's going to be a lot of reevaluation energy with this full moon, so you're going to feel like you're going to need to look at a lot of different aspects of your life. Work and relationships are specifically highlighted during this full moon, so it's presenting a very rare opportunity to reignite your inner fire before the lively autumn season begins. Now, there's going to be an ideal window here that this full moon is offering for us. And that window is to assess where you are in your work and in your relationships at this time. It's taking stock of your resources to know what you're working with. Is what you have enough to get you where you need to go? And this is both on a relationship aspect and work aspect. Does it allow you to build the business or relationship that you want to build? If not, what needs to change so that you can acquire the right resources? Does your mindset need to change? Do your actions need to change so that you can bring the appropriate resources into play that will support your growth and moving forward? But also, is it about really shifting the perspective so that you can now move into more fulfilling relationships, more fulfilling work, and shift into this energy where you can actually manifest the results that you are desiring, that you are seeking to have. So this full moon is going to be asking us to take a very honest look at our reality and take things at face value. You know, it's about being very real with what is in your life at this time and how that's working for you or not working for you, not being in denial about certain aspects, especially resources and, like I said, relationships, right? Not being in denial about those different aspects within our lives that are very meaningful, that are very important. So this is about knowing what you're working with and how far that can take you, and can it take you to where you want to go? So this full moon is asking us to release stagnation in our lives, especially when it comes to work and relationships. So it's releasing the type of work that is stagnating, that isn't fulfilling, that isn't progressing you forward financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. It's also looking at those aspects within the relationships, right? Removing stagnation from any relationship that you are in, or having an honest look at whether there is stagnation in your current relationships. This is more personal relationships, definitely more about partnerships, but it can pertain to all types of relationships, all matters of relationships. So reevaluating what you have. Are you pretending what you have is better than it really is? And ask yourself this question. Really take a moment to just kind of sit with these questions and think about it. And you can even journal on them if you like. You know, is it enough? What you have, is that enough? When it comes to resources in your life, when it comes to anything that pertains to work, is the work that you're doing, is that enough? Does it feel like it is bringing in enough resources for you? And do the resources that you have allow you to get the job done in a way that makes you feel inspired and motivated? Are you lacking some resources? Are you finding that you're not able to progress forward perhaps in your business or perhaps in business endeavors and projects because you're lacking resources, you're lacking help, or you're just lacking expertise, knowledge, things like that. And this is a really, really good time to look at that and see, if you have some wiggle room, can you invest some money into perhaps hiring help, hiring support, hiring somebody that knows more about those things that you are currently stagnating with because you don't have the expertise, because you don't have the knowledge or the skills that are needed in order to progress you forward in a much faster way, right? Because when we want to eliminate stagnation, it's about truly making forward momentum. Stagnation is not just, okay, we'll slowly but surely, we'll eventually get there, but actually making some movement forward. And while, yes, there needs to be a certain pace, and because we have to keep in mind that we are human and there's only so much we can do in a day, you have to still evaluate how much more could I be getting done? How much more efficient could I be if I was to have the appropriate support, the appropriate resources that were invested in the appropriate things to actually move me forward? And of course, when it comes to relationships, the same thing applies. So are you pretending that someone in your life is better than they really are? Are you pretending that they are enough for you? And are they truly enough for you? Are they truly fulfilling you in all the different areas of the partnership that you are seeking, that you are looking for, that you are desiring to experience? Because this full moon is also about what you truly desire and connecting to those desires and being really, really honest about, do I have those desires in my life? And if I don't, then why not? Have I been settling? Have I been pretending that things are a certain way or that a person is a certain way when in fact the evidence is before me? The evidence is in front of my eyes, right? Because this full moon highlights this energy of what you see is what you get, and what you see is what you truly have. So are you looking at that for real in the way that it actually is? Or are you painting a picture in your mind? Are you allowing your mind to tell you a story that keeps you in a comfort zone, that keeps you in a state of acceptance of what is, without sort of motivating you to seek better or to even desire better for yourself? A lot of people settle simply because they are too afraid to want more. They don't feel worthy of more. They don't feel like they can have more. They feel like it would require too much work to get more. And so they end up settling in situations, in relationships, in jobs that are highly unfulfilling, that really are lacking so many different aspects that would fulfill them, that would complete the true dream, right? The true desire that is born within the heart, not necessarily within the mind. So this full moon unveils a reality check, and one that may be uncomfortable. It may be something that comes up for you where you just kind of have this realization like, wow, I've been living a lie, or I've been really dishonest with myself. I've been deceiving myself in some kind of way. It's delivering the reality check saying, what you see is truly what you have. And if you never go for more, if you never desire for more, then you're just going to continue getting what you have. And is that okay for you? Are you okay with that? So do you accept what is, what you're currently saying yes to? And take a look at in your life what you are currently saying yes to. Is that enough? And because we're in Mercury retrograde, this is all about the re's, right? This is about reviewing, reaffirming, recalibrating, readjusting. There are so many re's here There's such an opportunity during this full moon, and the energy is going to be very impactful in the sense that it's really going to show you all of the ways in which you need to reevaluate and reassess your current situation and the reality that you are saying yes to right now, and whether that is something that is acceptable for you or not. So reviewing and reaffirming your long-term objectives is going to be highlighted during this full moon. Embracing your individuality and exploring groundbreaking ideas. So not being afraid to step outside of that comfort zone, not being afraid to step outside of your current normal, right? It's time to look at where and in who you are investing your energy in, and are you getting maximum return on that investment? It's time to put your focus into things that give you what you really truly want. And if you don't know what to focus on, it's because confusion always comes before clarity, right? And so at first, that confusion is actually setting up the foundation for the clarity to come. It makes us inquire. It makes us become inquisitive, right? It sort of forces us to look into things, to really review things and think about things from a very different perspective or in a very different way. So confusion always serves its purpose. And so when you don't know what to focus on, then allow the confusion to guide you into inquisition, to really find your answers, to dig deeper to find those answers, to perhaps silence your mind and give yourself space and give yourself expansion where the clarity can come and it can be revealed to you. You can also expect to feel a surge of optimism, a readiness to embrace risks. So you might be actually feeling quite ready because of certain stagnation that you have been experiencing for some time to make some big changes and to take some risks and really move into, as I mentioned before, investing into support, into help, into getting things, moving in the right direction. So that can be a very positive. It's about welcoming fresh perspectives at work and in your personal life, and welcoming fresh prospects. So it's about really staying open and embracing and allowing new things to come into your life and new opportunities, new ideas, new people to come into your life to move things forward. Because oftentimes we can get very stuck in stagnation because we insist on controlling everything, on controlling the narrative, and we insist on doing everything by ourselves. And there's always more that can be done, more productivity that can be accomplished through teamwork, right? And so this full moon is also asking us to relinquish control to a certain degree and to allow ourselves to have outside perspectives come in and show us a different way of doing something in a way that may be more simple and easier to accomplish a certain goal, instead of you sort of banging your head against the wall, trying to figure it out on your own and maybe taking a really, really long time to figure something out on your own. So this empowering vibe can really help you to overcome doubts or past setbacks that may have restricted your friendships, your social media habits, or shared goals over the past 6 months. And that's something that you can also kind of take a look at. How has the last 6 months played out for you? How has it been? Have you experienced stagnation? Have you experienced significant forward movement? Have you experienced incremental movement forward? So it can show up a lot of different ways, but just taking a look will help you to realize kind of where you're at currently, because this is all about facing reality now and where you are now and how far you have come in this year. Remember, this is the last full moon of the summer season. So I can't even believe that I'm saying that. We're going to be moving into fall very, very rapidly. And so this is about sort of preparing ourselves for the new season as it approaches, and tying up those loose ends and sorting some things out in our life that is going to help us gain fresh perspective and momentum for the new fall season. Because this is also about planning for future prosperity, right? So really getting into that mindset and perspective of future prosperity and working towards that in whatever way you can currently to get there. So this moon invites you to reflect on your personal achievements and consider how you can continue to grow. What areas in your life do you seek more growth and more abundance? Set actionable goals to manifest these desires. So again, this is perspective shifting. It's about really looking at how things can move forward, how you can do things differently than how you have been doing them to actually get that forward momentum going. And just really getting clear on what areas of your life you are seeking more growth. You are looking for expansion. Where would you like to experience more expansion in your life at this time? Is it in your romantic life? Is it in your work life? Is it family life? Is it your personal health, right? So where do you want to experience expansion and growth? And growth always means progression. It always means that we are evolving, right? We are becoming a newer, clearer versions of ourselves. Now, although this moon has a lot of challenging aspects, thankfully it does have some really beautiful positive aspects to it as well. And some of those positive aspects are intense emotions, abundance, wisdom, and transformation that is also being brought on by this full moon. So you may be feeling more emotional than usual. Evaluate your personal and spiritual progress and realign your goals with your true desires. And you may be feeling emotional about those new desires that you want. And perhaps they're not necessarily new desires. Maybe there is something that you've been desiring for a long time. And you may be feeling quite emotional about those desires now as this full moon comes to completion and brings this desire forward within you to complete those desires, to now manifest them, to now have them be tangible, be something that comes to fruition for you. And with work, for example, if you want to become an entrepreneur and work for yourself and earn more than perhaps what you're earning at a job working for someone else, are you able to do everything required to build a successful business? Do you need support to build that business faster? If so, are you willing and able to invest in hiring people to help you do that? So this full moon is really just highlighting to us that it is time to make some really significant changes in our lives. It is time to embark on new projects, on new life trajectories. It is time to embark on new relationships if the ones we are in are currently stagnating, or it is time to simply release those stagnating relationships. It is also time to recalibrate your life path and align with your higher purpose. So has the path that you have been going down on been meaningful to you? Has it provided you the sustenance and the fulfillment that you have been seeking to experience? Or is it time to create a new life path? Is it time to create a new, more expansive life path where you experience more, where you get to perhaps travel more, where you get to engage with other people more and be more social? So it's taking a look at that. It's really just all about, what have I been doing? Has that been working? If not, what would I like to experience, and how could I move forward on that and bringing that forth? And what steps can I take right now, no matter how small, to get myself on this new trajectory? And as we align more and more with this higher purpose that we are all seeking in our own unique way to experience, it's also about remembering our humanness in the process, because you're still going to have to live your life. You're still going to have to prepare meals and rest and take time off and take time for self-care or spend time with your children, right? So there are things that you can't avoid. There's only 24 hours a day. We each get the same amount of 24 hours in a day, and how we manage that time and how much we are capable of doing and accomplishing to reach those higher purpose goals need to be scaled to humanness, right? We need to still keep that in mind. In order to achieve balance with anything in life, we must have balance in our day-to-day life. We must create that balance, and we must also honor the balance that is needed on a daily basis in order to be able to keep going, right? You can't burn the candle at both ends. We can't be in this overly masculine energy of just doing and working and pushing really hard towards our goals without honoring the feminine aspects of ourselves, which is the receiving side of ourselves, without honoring that we do need rest, that we do need to take time off, that we do need to love ourselves and give ourselves what we need, like fun and excursions and whatever else we need in order to maintain balance, right? And so this full moon is also highlighting that for us. You know, make sure that you honor your humanness, that you keep that in mind, that you can't do everything by yourself, and that it's perfectly okay to ask for help. And this is why the whole hire if you need that help and if you are able to, because some days you're going to be productive and other days you're not going to be productive at all. And that is all a part of the human process, the human experience, and all of it is okay. And remembering to go with the flow, go with your own flow, and keep in mind that you're not always going to have all the answers, that you're not always going to be able to push forward and work all the time, you know, and that you're not always going to be able to have everything and manage everything perfectly, right? Life happens. Things unexpectedly constantly play out in our lives, especially when we have children, right? So perfect example, right? As I was preparing to sit down to film this video, my daughter stepped on glass and I had to band-aid up her foot. So it's like there are always going to be distractions and disruptions. And it's about learning to just go with that flow, not stress about those things, and allowing it to just be a part of your everyday human life. So while this full moon is tense, testing, and tight, don't judge yourself and don't judge other people during this time, because there is some intensity to this full moon. And just remember to have more compassion for yourself, more compassion for other people, remembering that everybody is moving through their own journey. Everybody is moving through their own process in however slow or however fast they're moving through it. And so don't act dramatically. Allow yourself grace and allow others grace at this time. Stay open to the universe's support and guidance without needing to know everything in advance. It's like try to relinquish control at this time. Surrender is a key word for this full moon, because it's about trusting the universe to guide you, to get you where you want to go at the right time and in divine time. And not necessarily, like I said, pushing forward where you start to pull yourself out of balance, and just not always needing to know how everything is going to turn out. It's about more getting clarity on what your goals are and what you sort of want the end result to be, but at the same time leaving room, leaving grace, and leaving an open mind to allow it to turn out however it is going to turn out, without necessarily knowing exactly how it's going to turn out. And on a personal level, it's also going to be a very emotional time around this full moon. It's a time of romance, fertilization, and relationships are, like I said before, highlighted during this full moon. So there are going to be some emotional upheavals and some more intensity than normal felt around this full moon. It's going to be illuminating feelings, attitudes, and circumstances that are already in existence. So there's definitely some shock, some unexpected things coming with Uranus in the mix and in the play with this full moon. So you may suddenly burst forth with proclamations and outpours that seem fresh and new, but have actually been percolating underneath the surface for a long period of time. Or you may feel this call to answer humanitarian impulses. So you might have this unexpected desire all of a sudden burst out of you, like, I want to really start doing this and supporting, this type of movement or this type of support group or whatever it is. And you may feel called or inspired to join or create communities, to form new alliances, or start a movement of some kind that has to do with humanitarian efforts. This full moon may also be bringing forth some tense, rebellious energy connected to our realizations and epiphanies. So in the collective setting, this is definitely, I think, a lot of realizations and epiphanies when it comes to leadership and how leadership is doing things and bringing forth this intensity within us about those realizations, right? It's when you all of a sudden recognize something and you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is totally not what it seems, and you know, they're trying to sell a certain agenda, but behind the scenes that's not really what is happening, or that's not really what they're going to be delivering, right? And realizing this, so there's some intensity around that people may realize, and the collective may uproar about, or have opinions, strong opinions about, and may want to rebel against. So that energy is also in the mix with this full moon. And just in general, your revelations are going to be pivotal and surprising. So you may actually surprise yourself when it comes to certain revelations that you have, you know, certain ideas, certain sparks of inspiration or innovation, right? We are in the sign of Aquarius, which is very, very innovative. It is all about creating something new. It's about inventions, something that is definitely outside the box. That is very Aquarian energy. So while you may be feeling anxious to move forward, you may be temporarily focusing on the past. And if you realize that you are doing that, then this full moon is asking you to realign yourself energetically to the present moment, to readjust your momentum forward. So it's time to pull out of the past, bring yourself into an anchor into the present moment, so that you can really have the clarity that you need to make the changes that you need to make at this time to complete certain cycles, to complete certain relationships, or certain work, or certain ways of thinking, or certain habitual ways of being. So that is the energy forecast for this full moon in the sign of Aquarius on August the 19th. I wish you a lot of clarity, courage, and strength to make the changes that you need to make at this time to move your life forward. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.